I'm Rebecca Lavoie, and this is the Readathon. And I'm here with guess who?
Hi, it's Mel Barrett.
Yay!
I'm back. We're back.
We're back. Yeah,
Yes.
Mel, there was nothing going on there for a little while, right? Except for gossipy media stuff. And then all of a sudden, in the last few days, so much shit has gone down. I just want to tell the audience, I did last week tape an episode with JFK of the JFK show, of the famous Kevin from South Boston incident.
I didn't know that.
I have not yet had the chance to edit it, but it does need a little bit of an edit. And so I promise I will put it out, but it's not... it's not urgent like this one is. So this one's coming out first.
Was he in his car?
He was not in his car, but I found out why he broadcast from his car.
Oh, why?
He lives in Georgia and his internet super sucks. Super sucks. He just can't get good internet where he lives. It's not like...
With that accent, he lives in Georgia?
Yeah, he moved to Georgia. He lives in Georgia.
Oh,
and so his
wow.
internet kind of sucks. So he has to go somewhere else and get on the Wi-Fi.
Hilarious.
To be able to broadcast. And it was funny because, this platform we record on Riverside, when we stop, you have to wait a minute for your video to upload, right? And your audio. It was an hour and a half for his shit to upload after we finished recording. He had to walk away. It was a whole thing. But he's a super sweet guy, real character, character. And the Higgins story is a little more interesting than I thought it was.
Oh, okay.
Spoiler alert.
Well, you're going to share it in the episode.
Yeah,
okay.
well, spoiler alert. Let's give you a spoiler alert. Higgins called him for a reason. All right.
Well, you better tell me off mic.
Oh, I'll just tell you now.
I'm going to be wondering.
Higgins called him because he'd been talking about Higgins on the show. And he'd been talking about a friend of Higgins that he'd met. And he'd been, basically this friend of Higgins had been talking shit about Higgins and he repeated it on the show. So apparently Higgins got wind of this and is like, I got to listen to the show and see if he says anything about me. And he did. And guess what? He got caught. Kevin from South Boston.
Higgins.
Yes. And as we heard Aidan Carney say, when I talked to him, Karen Reed is 100% sure that was Brian Higgins. So as far as I'm concerned, the lore is now that it is. It's canon.
There's some stuff to talk about with Turtle Boy as well. I mean, we'll get into it. But
absolutely.
there's a lot going on.
How have you been, by the way? Have you been missing the action?
I've been missing. Yeah. I've been missing the trial. I've been missing you. I've been missing talking about it. But I've been very busy with a new case, and it's Karen Reed level corruption, I think. But I just put out an episode yesterday on my pod on the In-Between, and it's about the case of Veronica Rodriguez. So you should go check it out. It's it's a really fucked up case. It's so fucked up.
All right. I definitely will check it out.
Yeah.
So Mel, let's talk about Turtle Boy first.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot.
Why don't you just go for it? I know he had Alan Jackson on his show.
He had Alan Jackson on. I don't find that to be the biggest news. I mean, he's on, I think it's Monday or Tuesday, he's going to be in court. Mm-hmm. And I think that it's streaming. So, one of the things I keep thinking about is I hope that the audience actually doesn't forget about him.
Yeah, I agree.
Now that Karen Reed's over, I think he needs just as much support. The reason he's in there and the reason this is happening to him is because he chose to cover this story. And I want to make sure, I hope that he has the kind of support that she had, because she's free now, and largely because of the work that he did. Right. Not largely, but partly because of the work that he did. And now he's facing charges. You could argue
it's entirely because of the work he did. You could. Because the public pressure changed so much about the contours of this case, including getting her legal team, all these pro bono people, including having them hire a new prosecutor for the case.
$10 million legal team.
Yeah. So it definitely, I don't think we would be where we are were it not for him.
Agreed. So I hope that he doesn't get forgotten about, because I think that these court cases are supremely important for him and his freedom, but also important for freedom of the press in this country. And, I'm worried about him, and I just hope that people continue supporting and doing what they can do to support him, because you know why.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I actually watched the hearing that he had earlier this week, which was another one of these motions pre-trial. Yeah. The state still has not done its disclosure in his case. They're it's been a year, and they keep getting deadlines, and they keep blowing the deadlines, and they keep just saying, we don't have time. We need more time. And this judge finally was like, you don't have a lot more time, people. Like, you got to stop doing this. But like, it's incredible. And this was all about getting his devices. We know that that's a huge part of it. And some of the stuff that they want, that Turtle Boy's team needs, is that. And there's also a bunch of stuff under seal that they want unsealed now that Proctor has been fired. So what did you see?
I didn't see the hearing this week, but I do plan to watch the one that's coming up. I was busy this week. I tuned in a little bit to some of his live streams, and what I saw was that he went to the Cape for the 4th, or he went somewhere.
Yes.
And
it was the Cape.
He was just having a good time. Mashpee, that's what it was. He was just having a good time and meeting people and signing autographs and taking selfies and all this stuff. And then somebody tweeted that he was there stalking Colin.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
I mean, they just need to fucking simmer down. I mean, this is so ridiculous at this point.
Yeah. And we should mention, I think, that Meredith O'Neill, who's his partner, her parents live in Mashpee. They have a house there, right? Which is why they were there. They were there spending a 4th of July at the beach at a very popular beach destination in Massachusetts. Yeah. So no, he was not stalking Colin. He did, however, drive by Higgy's house.
Yes, that was the next thing I was going to talk about.
Took video of the drive-by and himself yelling.
This is not what I was going to talk about.
Oh, no? Yeah. Higgy took video from his potato phone. The video looks like it's from a phone from 2003 of and being like, get the fuck out of here or whatever. And then I don't know who he shared it with, who then shared it on the internet. Why would Higgy share this with anyone? Probably Kate Peter or something. Yeah. What were you going to say about Higgy?
I was going to say that he's putting his house up for sale and that no one's seen him and that he's missing. Yeah. But I guess he's not.
Not anymore. He's at his place in the Cape.
I mean, I knew he moved there to sort of get away from everybody. But I heard that his house was for sale and he's getting out of there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's unclear what his employment situation is. It's all very, very murky and unclear.
I'll tell you what, if he decides to leave Massachusetts or he decides to leave that area and go someplace remote, I mean, every single thing that he has done since the minutes that John died has been so sus. Mm-hmm. Everything. If he, going to the Cannes Police Department, doing all the stuff that he did in the middle of the night, trashing his phone, calling Brian Albert, texting Brian Albert, everything he's done. And now he might he's been disappeared for a while. You know what I mean? Yeah. But now if he just decides to walk off and get away from this, I think he did it. That's all I'm saying. In my opinion.
He either did it or he was there when it happened. And at the very least. And remember, Jen McCabe said she hadn't seen him since John O'Keefe's wake.
But that's my point. And then Chris texted him, Chris Albert, and was like, where are you, bro? Brian wants to talk to you. Nothing.
Yeah. That doesn't sound like a friendly text, in my opinion. Not with these guys.
No, it sounds like maybe Kelly Devers' supervisor in that text.
So what did you think of Turtle Boy's interview with Alan Jackson?
It was too short. Turtle Boy seemed a little nervous, which I thought was kind of funny. And then he was fine. Then he was asking some harder questions. He was arguing with Alan, which I thought was really interesting. He was like, I think you guys screwed up here and I think you did this. But Alan had really good answers for everything. I mean, I think Turtle Boy has a little bit of a bro crush, you know what I mean, on Alan. And Alan is so cocky. Yes. And he's like, I didn't make any mistakes, basically. He said everything was planned. It happened the way they thought it was going to, which doesn't explain why he was so friggin' nervous when before the jury came back with the verdict and he was pacing the courtroom.
Well, because you can't control a jury even if you did everything according to plan, for real.
Yeah. I mean, but he said in the interview he knew they were going to come back not guilty.
Yeah. Yeah.
It didn't look that way, but.
Well, the moment I keep thinking about him and his cockiness is, do you remember when he was questioning Yuri Buchanan on cross-examination? And at one point, Buchanan was talking and Alan Jackson went back to the desk to get a piece of paper. And Yuri Buchanan is like, shouldn't you be listening to me? And he was like, oh, I know all the answers to the questions.
Yeah, he was like, don't you want to hear my answer? I know all the answers. I don't really care what you have to say, basically.
I mean, the cockiness, though, it's so funny because I don't necessarily know if it read well in trial one. But given, there was so much more latitude for him to be cocky in trial two because the witnesses were acting like such pricks that his cockiness read very differently. It read as him admonishing these pricks and not as him just roosting around. You know what I mean?
And I do think that was planned. I mean, it sounded to me based on, he was like, we had a very specific plan going into this. And that plan was to show how screwed up this investigation was. And it worked.
Did you see David Yannetti's tweet about his cross-examination of Brian Albert that he prepared?
No, I don't tweet.
All right. I know you don't tweet. I tag you in things sometimes, and I'm like, she didn't share it. Yeah, I do. Mel revision.
That's so old.
I know it is. I can tell by the last time you tweeted from it. Okay.
Yeah.
So he tweeted a photo of him and a giant table with tons of paper on it, saying, this is the cross-examination of Brian Albert that never was. And as you'll notice, there's a category of questions we've redacted here, and who knows how long this will have to remain a mystery. I am paraphrasing, but I'll tell you what you can see on the table. What you can see is there was a section about the garage. There was a section about Chloe and a photo of a Belgian Malinois, like leaping over something. And then whatever was under that was like the redacted part. But yeah, so they were preparing, obviously. And I think one of the reasons why we didn't see as much Yannetti is that he was prepared for things that didn't happen, such as the cross-examination of Brian Albert. Perhaps he would have been the cross-examiner of Proctor. I doubt it because Jackson did it last time. But he was probably going to cross-examine a bunch of people that they didn't bring in. So that's why I think his role may have been diminished, because there was a lot of paper on that table.
That's so interesting. That's one cross-examination I actually would have loved to see, because I think that they didn't realize the depth of the conspiracy in the first trial. And Brian Albert was just putting on this sort of, I don't know what you're talking about, like kind of dumb guy, and very much like, hello, jurors, welcome and good morning and blah, blah, blah. He was trying to be this like, he was trying to have like get one over on the jury and get one over on the lawyers. And I don't think the lawyers really understood the depth of his like depravity.
Yeah.
And so I think in this trial, had they been able to cross him, I think it would have gone much differently. And I would have been
a great show. Maybe it will happen in the civil case. Actually, I'm 100% sure if they take depositions in the civil case, they'll bring in Brian Albert.
Do you think the civil case is going to happen?
God, I hope it does.
I mean, don't you think that the O'Keefe's lawyers are going to advise them that since, she was found not guilty, that they really shouldn't be pursuing this?
That doesn't matter. In O.J. Simpson's case, they did a civil trial after he was acquitted.
But they had a lot more reason to.
That is true. If we don't see a civil proceeding, I don't think it will be for that reason. I think it would be because somebody's insurance company decides to settle against, and Karen Reed is advised to take it, even though I don't think she would. I really don't. Gosh, maybe this is just wishful thinking. I don't want Karen Reed to lose a civil case, and she could. I mean, civil cases are easier to win and lose for defendants. Easier to win for plaintiffs, easier to lose for defendants. However, the rules are such that they could depose everyone.
Anybody, anything.
And I get the strong feeling, especially after watching Alan Jackson on Turtle Boy's show, that he still has his fists up for these people, and that he would, and he said he will participate in any future proceeding she's in. He said that on the show, which was kind of like news. So it sounded like he'd be willing to help with that. And imagine if you are Brian Albert and you get called in for a deposition and you're sitting in a conference room with a camera and like a paralegal and a court transcriptionist and like two lawyers, and it's fucking Alan Jackson asking you the questions.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I think that I hope that the civil trial does happen, because I think that they can actually uncover a lot more than they were able to uncover in either one of these trials. Yeah. Because Bev wouldn't allow them to get anything in. And so now there's an opportunity to get it all in.
Right. The whole FBI file. All of it.
The whole FBI file, all the videos that were lost, all the people who lied on the stand, everything.
Yeah.
And then also they can actually ask about Colin. They can question Colin.
Right.
They can question Brian. They can question Brian Higgins. They can question everybody.
That's right.
And it could actually blow this whole case wide open if they go to the civil. And that's the thing I don't think the O'Keefes are realizing.
The civil case could solve the case, in other words.
It could solve the case. And the thing is, that's why I asked the question, do you think that the O'Keefe lawyers are advising them, listen, this is going to get very ugly and you may learn some things you don't want to learn, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And at the same time, what I was just saying was that, but then Hank Brennan puts this statement out officially, and says, well, we still think she's guilty.
Yeah.
So that's enough for them to move forward. I hope they do.
Yeah.
Because I don't think she would lose again. I think that the more information that comes out in this case, the better for Karen.
100%.
And that's always been the issue, is that she hasn't been able to get all of that information out in front of the people. And therefore, there are certain people who think that she's guilty. If you get all the information about this case out, she is 150% factually innocent. Like, she had nothing to do with this. So it should be interesting. I hope it happens, only because I want to see these people deposed.
One of the things that's brought me a lot of gratification with some of the news that came out this week is that the Boston media outlets are actually covering what is happening to these cops in the wake of the Karen Read case, thereby confirming misconduct, right? And these are the same media outlets that were in absolute both sidesism denial around this case the entirety of trial 1, for most of trial 2, and now it's only been after the verdict that, as we're going to discuss, Yuri Buchanan gets rehomed to do a different job, and now it's news. But aside from Yuri Buchanan, we have David DeCicco has been rehomed.
I hadn't heard about DeCicco.
DeCicco has been moved to Aidan Carney's hometown. He has a state job there now. Came out today, Jeff Kutkowski, who was another officer in that unit, who was also on the text chain with Proctor, also rehomed, moved to a different job. Tully has been rehomed, moved to a new job. Nicholas Guarino is rumored to be about to retire because of an injury.
Because of the accident.
That's right.
He got into a car accident last year and magically did not die.
Magically. Yeah. Can you imagine? Can you imagine not dying?
How many people have gotten into car accidents in this case, or fender benders, and no one's died?
That's right. I actually saw my friend yesterday, who is a plastic surgeon, has treated thousands of dog mauling cases. Like he's like it is one of the most common things I do. He does breast reduction, breast reconstruction, a lot of reconstructive surgery. Yeah. And he does a ton of dog bites. He has like a couple of dog bites a week. Like, it's very, very common for a plastic surgeon. So kind of apropos of nothing, without giving him too much context, I was like, can you look at this picture of this arm and tell me if you think it's the result of a car accident? And he looked at John O'Keefe's arm and he says, that man, one of two things happened to him. He either ran through a field full of concertina wire or he was attacked by a dog.
Yeah. Do you just keep the picture folded up like in your purse?
He's like, oh, I have it on my phone. He's like, that is 100%, except for it's concertina wire option, a dog attack. So one more confirmation there. So do you want to talk a little bit about Buchanan and the news that was made around him this week?
Yeah, well, there's a couple of others too. So Dever is on leave.
Yeah, that's right.
So let's break it down. So Guarino, Tully, Proctor, Buchanan.
DeCicco.
You said DeCicco, and who is the other one? Kutkowski. They have all been either transferred out or they are on leave.
Helena Rafferty retired and is being sued for hitting a guy with her car.
Yes.
Helena Rafferty was chief of police of Canton, and she was on this contract, and she chose not to renew the contract, allegedly, so she's retiring.
Yeah, that was after the report came out from the Canton Select Board.
Katie McLaughlin is on leave.
Really?
Yes. I'm looking, by the way, at a list that Turtle Boy put out. Kevin Albert was disciplined. We know that. But yeah, Buchanan was the big news this week, and I was very gratified to see how much news that made. It made news nationally.
A lot of news.
It made news nationally. It made news
and
locally.
He's on desk duty.
Yeah.
He's an admin right now.
He's in the training unit, not doing training, but doing desk duty. Yeah.
Pushing around paper on his desk.
Yep.
But, still great that he's out of Norfolk County. But at the same time, all these people they get to keep their jobs and their benefits. And they were working to try to put an innocent person in prison.
Right. Or at least ignoring what was happening around them, which was putting an innocent person in prison. I'm not going to say Guarino was ignoring anything. I'm saying that there may have been other dudes who worked there, who were on the text chain even, who were just like, fuck that bullshit. I'm just giving the benefit of the doubt here. But the new colonel of the Massachusetts State Police, Noble, he's from New Jersey. He gave a statement. Somebody caught up with him like at an event or something. He was wearing his uniform, like his uniform.
Yeah.
And he gave a statement about the public trust, and he was basically like, yeah, this is necessary. Like, we absolutely we need to regain the public's trust. And as far as the Massachusetts police part of it is over, we're done with Proctor. Like, he can appeal. He has his right to appeal, but his process with us is over, is what he said.
Yeah. Yeah. So Yuri Buchanan, I want to say I feel bad for him, but I don't, I think that he did show up at the end there when the jury was coming in. And I think he was trying to intimidate them. And I think
agree.
he probably did that on his own.
Yeah, I agree.
Just to intimidate them. And I think that might have been the last straw because it was reported, and they brought it up in court. And it's like, what are these cops doing? And it reminds me. So this case that I'm working on right now, the DA in the case is charging a woman with harassment because she was calling her office to ask about this case.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is this going to start happening all over the place? Are we going to start weaponizing the police and law enforcement and government against citizens who are asking questions when they disagree with what their public officials are doing? That's terrifying.
Yeah. What's interesting to me is that I don't think that Buchanan showed up on the jury day and that was the last straw. He showed up, but I think the decision had already been made about him. I think the decisions had been made about these men a long time ago. It turns out that the Kutkowski thing actually was decided in January. So what's telling to me, I mean, there's just no way that they're like, we're not making any decisions today. We're waiting until July 1. No fucking way. So I think that Noble came in. He came in a few months ago. These decisions were made, but then they decided to wait to implement and announce them until after the verdict, which is very fucking telling. And it's not uncommon. They do that all the time. But it bothers me because how much better would it have been for her defense if they had made that decision about Guarino during the trial and executed it during the trial? That's the
Tully, or any
right
of them.
thing to do. That is the right thing to do.
Yeah, well, they were waiting to see if there was going to be a guilty verdict, and if there was, then they wouldn't have to do anything about it at all.
Right.
That's so scary.
Or they would do it and it wouldn't make news.
Right.
So Kelly Dever, we know that she's on a leave of some kind. Karen Reed posted to Facebook calling her a liar with a little notice about her leave. And so we don't exactly know what's behind that leave, but we do know there is a leave in place. Yeah. And what do you make of that?
I think that she played the wrong game. I mean, with her, I think that her initial action, she could have been the other good cop in this story. And that was her initial action. And I think the second she made the decision to say that she had that false memory, nothing's going right for this woman in Boston.
Right.
Nothing's going right with her job. Nothing's going right in her personal life, because it's just putting on full display when you make the right decision to come forward and say that there are bad cops, or at least I think that something is suspicious here and I'm being a good cop. You get punished for it by the other cops. And then you got to decide whether you're going to roll with that or you're going to be like Barrows.
Yeah.
And
who's doing great, by the way. He's thriving.
He's great. He's doing great. He looks great. He's doing great.
There's photos of him that he's posted from him and his fellow cops in Dighton, all like, like he appears to be thriving.
Yeah, and I want to see more Barrows. I want more people like him in law enforcement. I want fewer Devers and fewer Buchanans and fewer Tullys and fewer Guarinos, and Brian Alberts especially, and Brian Higgins. But you have to make a choice. Like when you put your head down on the pillow every night to go to sleep and you think about your choices and who you are as a human being, and if your conscience isn't going, yeah, that was wrong, or I know better, or what am I doing, then you have some pretty big issues you got to deal with inside of yourself. I find it very hard to believe that Kelly Dever doesn't go to sleep every single night and go, I made the wrong choice.
Yeah.
And now I've got to live with it.
Or she's a lot of these people probably 100% sure she did the right thing and is now being unfairly punished for it. Because that's what Proctor thinks.
I don't think that's what Kelly thinks.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think we can know what she thinks.
Yeah.
But she certainly put her eggs in the wrong basket. She bet on the wrong horse. What other metaphors can I use?
One of your followers on, I think it was the private Facebook page, made a really astute comment, I think, about about Devers' personality on the stand and the way she looked. She did look scared. Yeah. She looked terrified.
That's what you said too.
I just don't think that she can be living her best life right now, because she's either terrified of those above her, thinking something could happen to me. Who knows what any of those cops are capable of?
Yeah.
if Brian Albert is capable of covering up a murder, which is what I think he did,
and beating up 7 of his colleagues and during his career
Yeah.
in law enforcement, yeah.
what are they capable of? And so not only is she afraid for her livelihood, she's afraid, fearful for her safety. God knows what they could do as far as just like throwing her under the bus. They could make up some shit. You know what I mean? I would be terrified if I were her.
Yeah.
And I would probably be taking a leave too. But I'm really sad about her because you know what I'd love to see happen? I'd love to see her pull a Barrows and come forward and say, I was pressured. Can you imagine what would happen if Dever came forward and said, I was pressured by the Boston Police Department
to commit perjury,
to say what I said?
Yeah.
A whole can of worms would be open where we wouldn't be investigating everything.
That's right.
She could be a hero.
Yeah.
If she would come forward.
Yeah.
And that's what I want her to do. I just don't know if she has the courage to do that, and she would be opening herself up to a whole different set of blah. But yeah, I worry about her, and I feel like she was pressured and she's in a really shitty situation. And at the core of her being, she did the right thing at the beginning. And that's where I am with her. So.
Well, speaking of consequences, which you weren't exactly, but I'm making a transition. Our friend Shannon Burgess.
Oh, yes.
Has been either rehomed or at least taken off of the pitching roster for Aperture, the crash reconstruction company. He is no longer on their website as an available expert. It's just like a 404 error page when you go to his page. So, yeah. So
what about Welcher, though?
Welcher, no word yet, but he's like sold the company. He's like a principal in the company. So I just can't imagine that they are ever going to do well in court. Like, I mean, how can Burgess can never testify in a trial again? He can never testify in a trial again.
I'm not sure Welcher could ever testify in a trial again.
It would be difficult for Welcher to testify in a trial again because the question would be, in a previous proceeding, wasn't your work equated to a kindergarten experiment? Like, and that's just embarrassing. Like, if nothing else, if I were him, I would just be fucking embarrassed and I wouldn't want to.
Did you get paid $400,000 to do a $5 experiment?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. From Michael's Crafts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Michael's, good old Michael's, a home of dried flowers and science experiment supplies.
I guarantee you that's where he got that paint.
Well, you don't think he said it was grease paint? I thought he may have gotten it at clown college.
Paint. Clown college. Is there a clown college still?
I don't know, but it was funny, so I said it.
It was very funny.
Yeah. So there's another guy. Have you heard about this guy, Joe Warren?
I don't know that name at all.
So Joe Warren is one of these anti-Karen Read Twitter trolls.
Oh, that's why I don't know him.
He's been charged with witness intimidation for harassing Paula online.
Oh, shit. Paula the juror.
Paula the juror. Right. And soon after it came out that he's been charged with actual, like it's a part of the statute, jurors, court officers, witnesses. So the case is, I guess I don't know if it was filed in a different county. It seems like it may just be an adjacent jurisdiction. I'm not certain. But he then tweeted under his stupid account something like, "Don't interact with Paula. It's a trap. I've just been charged with X.
A trap. Please
donate to my legal fund to help me." And then there was like a goal of $20,000. And last time I checked, it had $25 in it.
Oh, so sad. Womp.
So I think that there is a chance that some of these very toxic people, I want Deputy Man Shark, Braden Carney or Braden, whatever. He was tweeting with a fake.
I do know that one.
But he's like Deputy Man Shark. Before that, he was Captain Shark, whatever.
Yeah.
He is fucking vile. And we know who he is. I've talked about him on the show before. That dude needs to be charged. He has talked openly on social media about he hopes somebody kills Karen Read. Dude needs to be arrested. And I don't care if he's just friends with Brian Albert and is just trying to be a stand-up buddy or whatever. You don't say that shit. You just don't. Right.
What about Peters and Gaetani? I mean, is anything happening with them?
Well, I think that Lindsay Gaetani has I know that she's like losing in court. I know that because there's a bunch of hearings that that last hearing that they had with Aidan Carney, where the judge took her in the back room and made her watch the video of her entrapping her ex. That hearing did not go well for her. And I think she's got a bunch of stuff going on. Kate Peter is now facing multiple charges of witness intimidation, violating orders. Apparently she's lost her job. So as Carney calls her snitches for couches, is not living her best life right now either. And these are the people, remember, that Jen McCabe decided to cozy up to and get in bed with. And as Turtle Boy said on the show, if he'd been anti-Karen Read, they would have been the most pro-Karen Read people in the world.
Yeah.
'Cause it was all about him.
But I wonder if anything's actually going to come out about what seems like solid relationships with the district attorney's office in Norfolk County, including Adam Lally and Morrissey and all the others.
Yep. And Ken Mello, who's in the other.
Ken Mello.
Yeah, with the guy where he has the cannula now. And I don't feel bad for him at all. It seems like he's gotten the illness he deserves. I shouldn't say that, but that's how I feel. After I've seen the text between him and Lindsay Gaetani,
yeah,
I think he's faking it. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think he's faking it. But I wouldn't
got
put
anything
it
else?
past.
Go one more step. Go further.
I'm not going further. It's not kind. I just don't like him. And I don't like that other guy either. The guy's in the courtroom. Yeah. What's his face? The guy who's prosecuting Aidan Carney.
No, I don't know his name.
Oh, he has the worst courtroom affect and voice. He's like...
Worse than Hank Brennan?
It's bad. It's really
worse
bad.
than Lally? What's wrong with all these people?
Yeah. What do you think Brennan's up to right now? I think he's just on vacation for the summer?
I think he's working on a book.
You're probably right.
I think that he's probably taking his payday and walking away. It's no skin off his back. And the other thing is that even though Alan Jackson, David Unetti, Bob Alessi, Ian Runkle and Peter Tragos and Melanie Little and all these lawyers that have been doing this sort of YouTube tour with the defense team, every single one of the defense team says he's a really good lawyer.
Yeah.
We thought he put on a pretty good case. Lally put on a better case if you want to look at numbers because he got more numbers. But Hank Brennan's he's really friggin' smart.
I don't agree with that. I don't think he's really smart. I think he thinks he's really smart, but he's not quick on his feet. He made so many mistakes.
I'm just saying what all the other lawyers say about him.
Right.
I think they're thinking about his previous cases. And I'll say what I said before about Brennan. I thought he phoned this in.
Yeah.
I think he made mistakes because he didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Because he was getting a payday and all he had to do was try to get a conviction.
Right.
And if he didn't, he was still going to get paid.
Right. Right.
So, I don't know what he's doing. I assume he's, figuring out a way to tell his side of the story.
Yeah. So what else did you want to talk about today?
So the only other thing that I was thinking about this week was the very, very short Vanity Fair article with Alan Jackson, where he let them know that it would have cost $10 million for them to actually defend Karen Read.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was interesting. He went into his beginnings in the case. And he wasn't actually going to be her lawyer. He was going to consult, basically. Right. David Unetti reached out to him. And I think it was about experts and the dog bite stuff. Mm-hmm. And I thought the Vanity Fair article was pretty good, but it was short. The thing I've been noticing about Alan and what he's saying in the few sparse media things he's done is that he's saving basically the big answers for the big outlets.
I agree.
He kept saying that to Turtle Boy. He kept saying, I'm going to have to save that for a different outlet or whatever.
Yeah.
So he's got something big coming up. It's probably going to be some 2020 or even bigger. I don't know. Or it could be the documentary, or it could be this movie, which he's going to be a producer on.
Yeah. Could be whatever Netflix has been making. They're making something. It's interesting because I also talked to somebody else yesterday that I'm not going to use her name, but I'll tell you that she is a true crime media producer. She used to work for a production company and she now works for Discovery ID, and she oversaw A Body in the Snow, the Karen Read documentary.
Really?
Yes. He's not a dummy. And it's very good for his career to do these high profile cases. It's good for his career that he got Kevin Spacey off. I'm sorry, but it is.
It is.
Yeah. And, it's like...
And he also prosecuted Phil Spector.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just, talk about the elephant in the room, because everyone's like, you can tear defense attorneys down for the client. Like they defend murderers. They defend rapists. They defend Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
And Alan Jackson defended Harvey Weinstein. It is his job.
Yeah.
And his job is to make sure that his client's constitutional rights are covered and taken care of, and that he gets or she gets a fair trial. And because he's so good at his job, and because Harvey Weinstein hired him, he was able to be good at his job for Karen Read as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm so sick of hearing about Alan Jackson defending Harvey Weinstein
Same.
and Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, I don't care.
It was his friggin' job.
Yeah, I don't care. And I don't care. Like a lot of the lawyers on the dream team for OJ were like really prominent. Barry Scheck went on to found the Innocence Project, for God's sakes. And it's like also, it's very fair to say that a lot of OJ Simpson's constitutional rights were violated in that process. It was not a fair trial. The judge was a mess. The prosecution had a terrible case. And the whole thing is
experts.
Yes, this is a guy who's on tape doing domestic violence against his dead wife. It's like it should be a slam dunk case without throwing a bunch of bullshit into it, which is what, which is the case they ended up getting, what they had to present. It was wild. Anyway, have you heard about the new case that Alan Jackson is going to be doing? It's very interesting.
I have not. Please tell me about it.
All right. So it's this kid, like I'm calling him a kid. He's in his 20s, named Michael Boehm in Malibu, California. He was involved in a car wreck on the Pacific Coast Highway that killed 4 students from Pepperdine. He wasn't drunk. He wasn't driving erratically. He stayed at the scene and cooperated with the police, and he's been charged with murder.
Wait, do you know how the accident happened?
Well, there is somebody else who allegedly left the scene who may have been road raging against him. Some of the details are like still coming out, but there's another person who left the scene who folks say may have actually been causing the road rage incident that made him be driving in such a way. But he wasn't the only one involved in the accident. There was another witness who said she also left the scene, that she was involved in the accident. Like this, I think this was like a multi-car situation, right?
Crazy. I know that area really well too.
Yeah,
I used to live
and a
over
lot of accidents, a lot of fatal accidents have happened there, including Caitlyn Jenner, who hit somebody who died, including other famous people who've driven there drunk and killed people. Nobody
has treacherous.
Yes, nobody has ever been charged with murder for an accident on the PCH before. And there is actually, the community has been lobbying to, quote, fix the PCH for many, many years, because it's like very, very dangerous place to drive. So this kid's prosecution seems to be political because the case became national news. And it's one of those, we got to get him now situations. And so apparently in all the filings, they're not saying that Boehm wasn't involved in the crash. He apparently was. His was one of the cars. He admits it. But he being charged with murder is insane. It's absolutely insane. And that is Alan Jackson's new case. And I'm very interested to follow it because, and there's a lot of like apathy toward the kid because he's from Malibu and whatever. And it's like, apparently he's not like a rich kid. He's just like a kind of well-off kid, but like, it's like the bottom line is
he white?
He's white. He looks exactly like you would imagine. He's very handsome. But that, like, I'm putting that aside. Like, the bottom line is political prosecutions happen all the time. And as we know, political refusals to relook at old cases happen all the time. And that's apparently what this seems to be. So it's going to be really interesting. And I think it's interesting that now people are following Jackson's career because this has made him so well known, like as a figure. And he's very media savvy. He's definitely got that thing where he holds back. He's not like Yannetti and Alessi, who were just like, I'll tell anyone anything.
Yeah, what do you want to talk
about? But so he's, I think, kept enough of his mystique around him that people are going to be following his career.
I am interested to see what David Yannetti does next, if he has any big cases coming up. And I had a couple of points about what we're talking about. I think I had an epiphany this week when I started really investigating this case that I'm working on, the Veronica Rodriguez case, because what you're talking about, where the district attorney is doing like political charges, basically, I'm actually starting to realize that between judges and prosecutors, our system is kind of fucked up. And like the power that those people have to create charges and to make decisions about the evidence that comes into a courtroom or expert witnesses, there are so many commonalities between the case I'm working on right now and Karen Reed's case, even though it's about completely separate things. Yeah. Veronica Rodriguez she was sexually assaulted and she recorded her assault and brought it to the police, and they turned it on her and they charged her with false reporting and 2 felony wiretap charges. Yeah. And she has just been convicted.
And the prosecutor judge kept a bunch of stuff out of the trial, right?
Okay, so I'm actually talking to this guy tomorrow. I'm really excited about it. If you saw Victim Suspect
so
on
good.
Netflix.
So good.
Do you remember the detective Hirschman who got emotional talking about his sister, and that's why he does the work that he does.
He trains people now in how to interrogate sexual assault.
Sex crimes. Yeah. And he is her expert. He's Veronica's expert. And he wrote a 30-page report that is astounding and amazing. And I'm talking to him tomorrow. He was not allowed to testify, but his report was allowed to be brought in, and they were able to use it to cross. And I'm just like, what is with all these judges not allowed? This guy has an immaculate record, and he's smart and intelligent, peer-reviewed, has been doing this for years, owns a company where he teaches other people how to do this thing. And the judge wouldn't allow him in, and then slapped huge gag orders on this case. No one was allowed to talk about it, which means that Veronica wasn't allowed to tell her story ever. And then as soon as the trial was over, the prosecutor was able to get out and put their narrative out there, but she still can't talk because sentencing doesn't happen until August 20th. And I'm just sitting here going, and it's a female prosecutor, not that that should mean anything, but at the same time, I'm just like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Why are we charging someone who said that they were raped with 15 years possibly in prison?
Right. Because that's the system, man.
What are we doing? Brian Walshe.
Yeah. Oh.
Can we talk about him real quick?
Yes. So Brian Walshe is going to be on trial for murdering his wife, Anna, and then dismembering and getting rid of her body. And his case also involves Google searches. His alleged Google searches include things like, what is the best way to get rid of a body?
How do I chop up my wife and put her in bags and put her into a dumpster?
So that allegedly, these are all of his Google searches. And I say allegedly now for a reason, because I'm just like so skeptical. So in a hearing, it came out that these Google searches were collected illegally and are now going to be fruit of the poisonous tree. And has there been a decision made on that yet? Because it's the same team. It's Guarino. It's Buchanan testified in this hearing. I believe Tully testified in this hearing. And the bottom line is they had an agreement with his lawyer to get certain things from his phone. Certain things. And they went and they got everything. And they're prosecuting him with the shit they found on his phone illegally.
Yep. And this is a guy who
probably chopped up his wife.
Did it. Probably friggin' killed his wife.
Not funny, obviously, but...
Not funny, but they have like a 3-year-old kid. Like, this kid lost both of her parents, or has lost both of her parents. And her father, she will live with that for the rest of her life, that her father allegedly murdered and then dismembered her mother's body and then tried to get away with it.
Right.
And the Keystone cops in Massachusetts fucked it up again.
Yep.
And the prosecution, they won't be able to prosecute in the way that they should because they screwed up. Because basically they were like, oh, let's take a shortcut. Let's just do this real quick.
This to me sort of like underlines the taillight thing. It's exactly the same shit. And I'm sure they did it with Turtle Boy's devices. There's a ton of stuff. Remember that hearing where Karen and her team busted in?
Yep.
Hank Brennan was trying to get communications between Karen Reed and Turtle Boy entered into evidence. Communications which Turtle Boy says totally exist but say nothing. Nothing about her consciousness of guilt or anything. Speaking of, the woman who oversaw the Karen Reed documentary, she was telling me about, that there was a motion that Bev Canoni granted to get all the raw footage from the documentary.
Oh, right.
And of course, did you notice how much raw footage of documentary was played in court? None of it. Because this woman was telling me, she's like, do you fucking think that if Karen Reed had said something juicy, we wouldn't have put it in the movie?
Exactly.
It would have been in the documentary if she had said,
that was my point about the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's my point about the whole thing. Like Brennan going after those videos and then picking and choosing and snipping and splicing and doing whatever he was doing. If she had said on camera to any journalist, yeah, I think I did do it, but we're going to fight it anyway.
Right.
It would be
game
done.
over.
It would be all over the place. I mean, it's so stupid. It's so stupid what Bev fell for,
Yeah.
Yeah. Oof, these judges.
All right. So when are we going to talk again, Mel? What are we looking for?
I don't know. Oh, well, I know for sure that we're going to be talking on the 18th of July. Do you remember what's happening on the 18th of July?
Yes. On the 18th of July, we're going to the True Crime.
You were like, what are we doing?
We're going to the True Crime Podcast Festival, and we're going to be talking to a group, whoever decides to come, about the Karen Reed case. Yes, with a slide or two. And we're going to be talking about the case. We're going to talk about what happened, what could be happening next, and just basically, what is the word? Yakking about the case.
Yakking.
It's going to be so fun.
Chatting.
Yeah. So if you want to come to get a ticket, go to the website for the True Crime Podcast Festival, and you'll get 20% off of a ticket with code CWO.
That's the only thing we have on the books.
Yeah.
So unless something else happens, I guess.
Well, I guess we're going to probably be getting a tape of that, I hope. If we have mics, maybe we'll tape it and be able to put it on the Readathon. We'll
that
see.
would be nice.
We'll see. We'll ask.
Yeah.
So, Mel, I miss
Yes.
you. I miss you.
I miss you too. We were talking like every day.
I know.
We got to come up with something.
Look at me. I don't even feel the need to put makeup on for you anymore.
Oh, did you feel the need to put makeup on for me?
No.
Okay.
That was for social media mostly.
I was like, girl, just be your bare-faced
but
self.
you have
You're
perfect
totally fine. You're
skin,
beautiful.
so it's like I'm definitely
I don't.
competing. Well,
I don't. This is just good light.
Yeah, it looks
Like
good on
I'm
camera.
getting these like forehead wrinkles because I use my forehead a lot
Me
when
too.
I talk.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so funny because as Maggie said on this podcast, like she gets Botox and she's like shocked that I don't. And I'm like, I literally don't know. I have one friend who got it once. Like this is just not a thing people do in New Hampshire. We're just ugly here. We just age and we're
No,
we
you're
just
not
age.
ugly.
We get ugly.
I was just telling Lindsay, like, I would never get any kind of plastic surgery or Botox or anything like that, but I would get cool sculpting in a minute.
100%.
And I would get laser hair removal in a minute. And like, there's just like these little things. I would get like blemishes removed, but I would never get plastic surgery.
I have an at-home laser thing and it's fucking
You do?
awesome. I do.
You gotta tell me what it is.
Send you the
because
link. It's fucking awesome. It was
menopause sucks.
100% worth the money. You have to use it a lot more than you do when you go and get like a laser treatment.
Mm-hmm.
I love how off topic we are, by the way. And the one I have blows cold air, so it don't even feel it.
Really?
And I've used it on my mustache, which is now no longer a mustache. I've used it in my underarms, which are not like perfect, but they're pretty good.
It's not like an Epilady or something.
No.
Do you
It's
remember
laser.
the Epilady?
Yes, it's a laser. I used it on my legs, and now I can like, if I need to, shave every other day instead of 4 times a day, which is what I had to do before. It's incredible. I'll send you the link.
I have a magnifying mirror and I have to wear my glasses, and the magnifying mirror has this bright spotlight around
and you
it.
just pluck.
No, but then I have to also use the light on my phone because I'm obsessive. I'm like, it drives me insane. And every day I'm just like magnifying my face, which is aging every day.
Yeah, I still do have to pluck some little hairs from the chin area that will just, they're not dark enough here to work. The laser thing your hair has to be a little bit darker.
But the clear, like, white hairs are sometimes worse.
They're totally worse because you miss them.
They're awful.
I had one on my chest, like right here. Yesterday, I looked down.
Did you have a nipple hair?
It wasn't quite a nipple.
Chest?
It was above, right? It was like 2 inches long. I'm not kidding.
Oh my God.
But I hadn't seen it because it was white. So embarrassing, right?
Well, I don't know how we got off the rails. But
well, I think it's important for
you.
people to know that those at-home laser things totally work. The one I have is called the Ulike, Ulike. And it's not cheap, but I'm telling you, it's a lot cheaper than going to the salon 10 million times because it's kind of changed my life. I used to be so self-conscious about my body hair.
Me too.
No longer. No, it says currently unavailable. Shit. All right, well, I'll send you the link. I probably sold out on Prime Day. I'm sure it'll be back.
Oh, that's right. It's Prime.
Yeah. All right, Mel. It was so nice to see you, and I'll see you, next week?
Yeah, we'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I love that we talked about hair removal.
Partners in Crime Media.